Hello, I'm KARIM. I'm back in the dungeon, and this time I'm here to talk about the amazing unification fight we've got coming up in the lightweight division between Anthony $1 Million Crolla and Jorge Linares. And it's a great fight. I mean, for me, this could be fight of the year. We've got two of the three best lightweights in the world squaring off with each other here. Of course, the other one being Terry Turbo Flanagan. But let's get straight into this. If you don't know much about Linares, I think you need to go and check this guy out. I've been researching him. I mean, this guy is just genuine world class. He's a great mover. He's really good and balanced on his feet. He gets himself into great positions. He's got a fantastic engine. He's got really sharp power. He's got 27 knockouts in his 40 wins. He throws blistering combinations. He likes to finish with a little body shot, left hook to the body. He goes up and down really well. He seamlessly transitions between head and body shots. He's been described by people like Max Kellerman and Freddie Roach and Manny Stewart, the late great Manny Stewart, as one of the most naturally gifted fighters they've ever seen. So obviously that means a lot. He's just a nightmare basically. Those who are not too familiar with him may remember him from the Kevin Mitchell fight, and in that fight he actually also showed he had toughness and grit and heart and determination. And he was still hungry because he got put down in that fight with a good shot, and he took some big shots because Kevin Mitchell went into finisher mode and he weathered it and he came back. I mean, look, this guy is just pure class, and to top it off, he's a nice guy as well, which is annoying. I've met him at the press conference, and I really wanted to hate him, but he was a nice guy too. But we're not here to talk about if he's a nice guy. We're here to talk about who we think wins. He's fought on 4 continents. He's been in world title fights before. He's undefeated since 2012. He's just a brilliant all-round fighter. He doesn't do anything badly. He's got it all locked up. And then on the other hand, you've got Anthony Crolla, and Anthony Crolla seems to be at the minute on a serious roll. He's going from strength to strength. His last 4 performances have been sensational. His last 3 have just got better and better and better. He's a bit like a Canelo or a Lomachenko. Seems to be getting better with every performance. I mean, let's just think about the Perez 1 fight. After coming back after that horrific skull injury and that broken ankle, I don't care what anyone says. He won that fight, even though it was scored a draw. He won that fight. I'm not just being biased. I had him 2 or 3 points up, and then there were 2-point deductions. So how he got a draw, I don't know. He was robbed that night. But you know, to sort of come back from all that adversity he's had, I mean, and the Barroso fight, I mean, a lot of you were betting against him. Shame on you, were betting against him in that fight. I mean, at the time I was there. I was about 3 rows back, and I was watching like this because what he actually did was so professional to take shots, full-blooded shots from a power punching southpaw, just in order to get him into the later rounds where he could drag him into the deep waters and then drown him. It was so professional. When I watched it back the next day, I could just see it was brilliant. Like, he was just making little movements, just catching the shots on his forearms, like this little movements. His economy of motion was brilliant. He knew exactly what he was doing. And that's another thing he's got in his favour. He's got a fantastic trainer, and I know he gets a lot of stick and hate that Joe Gallagher does, but the guy knows how to come up with a game plan. And on top of that, Anthony Crolla is day in, day out at Gallagher's gym, surrounded by other champions, other great fighters, Scott Quigg, the Smith brothers. He's been having some great sparring with Zelfa, Flash Barrett at the minute. I mean, he's just coming on leaps and bounds. He's a different fighter from the guy that lost a few years back, pre-2012, who lost to people like Gary Sykes and Derry Matthews. I mean, in the first fight with Derry Matthews, again, this might be controversial, but I think it was stopped prematurely. I think he actually could have carried on. I think he was doing well in the fights. But look, it's a 50-50 fight. You've got 2 elite premium fighters who are both they're both undefeated since 2012. I think if this fight was in somewhere like Venezuela or Vegas, I think you'd have an argument for saying Linares wins this fight on points. Don't forget, Anthony Crolla's got a seriously good chin. He's been stopped once, in my opinion, prematurely. He's been in there with massive punches like Barroso and come through it. He's been in fights. I mean, look, the guy's been in fights he's meant to lose. He always wins the fights he's meant to lose. The John Murray fight, he was meant to lose. Perez, in the rematch, people said he'd blown it. He's had his chance, that's it. What did he do? Stopped him, round 5, body shot. The one thing I think here that differentiates the fighters is the crowd. And I'm not just trying to be obvious with this. Something magical happens to Anthony Crolla now, since the first Perez fight, when he goes into that MEN arena. It's crazy. I mean, I'll try and take some footage on the 24th and I'll just pan around and you'll see the crowd goes mad. And in those tight spots, in those close exchanges, when the fight's going close, going into the late championship rounds, that can do wondrous effect for you. It's a bit like the crowd when Ricky Hatton fought Costa Tszyu. I think that crowd got him over the finish line there. And in fact, whilst we're at it, Carol Hatton, I'm going to tag you in this if you don't mind. And it would be great for you to just comment and see what you think, because you lived it more than anyone. Did the crowd on that night pull Ricky through? And whilst we're on it, Richard Bamber, I'll tag you in this as well. I know you've got a good relationship with Frank Bruno. The night where he beat McCall for the title, did the crowd bring him through? Because to me it looked like Bruno was dead in the last 4 rounds and the crowd brought him through. So I don't know. I think it's similar to that. The effect Anthony Crolla now has in Manchester, 10,000 plus people just cheering, baying for him. And I think that might be the difference in this fight. Now, I don't think Anthony Crolla can outbox Linares. No disrespect, obviously, but Linares is just a special talent when it comes to pure boxing. I actually think, and this might be controversial, but I actually think Anthony Crolla goes out there in Manchester, in the Fortress, and he stops Jorge Linares. I think Linares might win the first 2 or 3 rounds. I think in the mid-rounds, Anthony Crolla is going to start closing the range a bit and walking him down a little bit, and I think he will actually start putting it on him. I see this fight going a little bit like Crolla Murray, Crolla Barroso, that sort of thing, really sort of close fight until Anthony Crolla's amazing engine, chin, will, determination, heart, technique, compact nature, all comes out, and my prediction for this fight, and you can hold me to it, is that Anthony Crolla will win this fight and he will stop Jorge Linares between rounds 9 and 11. And that's not taking anything away from Linares. This guy is world class. But he's a 31-year-old Linares who has been in some tough fights and has lost 3 times by knockout. And I just feel like this fight, if you want to watch one Linares fight, watch Linares versus DeMarco, where I think Linares is ahead. He's outboxing him, he's moving brilliantly, and he gets stopped in around 9 or 10. Watch that fight, because that's how I see this fight going. Anthony Crolla to win, and to win by stoppage between rounds 9 and 11. So that's it. But feel free to comment, disagree with me, call me a twat, whatever. But yeah, that's what I think.